second part of the dish, right? We're gonna do a half chicken with red lentils, chorizo, Brussels sprouts, and a little bit of goat cheese, right? I just kind of came up with this because I love all those things, those combination of things coming together, making it a beautiful dish. It's a kind of hefty dish because it's a little chilly outside. I know she's coming from a cold place, so I'm going to kind of give her something to warm up inside, all right? It's a kind of a stick to your herb kind of dish, right? Okay, so we'll start with our red curry. We'll get these on first because they take a little longer to cook. Start with our pan. Some hot water, and we let these cook for about 15 minutes, and we'll constantly check on them to see if they're ready to go. Get it on the fire. Now red lentils is something that I love, not only because of the color, but because also lentils is something that is full of proteins, vitamin B1. It's very nutritious. I'll just pour it in there and let it go by itself. That's about 1.5 cups. I know she's probably not going to eat more than that. And I'll probably help her out with it. And we'll let that go first. Alright? Now, next, half chicken. Half roasted chicken. That sounds like a lot of work because it's much cheaper when you buy your chicken in the store and do it yourself. And also, you know, as a chef, we want to keep the carcass and probably make chicken stock or make some kind of soup, and it's much better for us. So we'll just season this just a little bit with some salt, some pepper. And the beautiful thing about this is that the water starts to boil right away, so it'll be perfect. It'll be ready right on time. Grab our whole chicken, and this is a big, beautiful bird. That means she's been kept well, been fed well, and now she's ready to do her duty. Now, the half chicken, we're going to go down the breastbone, right? And then straight down the back. We're going to kind of take this side off, but we're going to leave 2 bones in the chicken, 2 essential bones, right? Only for presentation purposes, and it makes it a little bit easier to eat. We're going to leave the wing bone. So that's going to be the airline breast, which is going to be pretty much this side, right? We're going to leave the leg bone because everybody likes eating chicken with a drumstick. But we're going to take out the thigh bone, and what's that going to do is that it's going to make it cook quicker because I'm a little pressed for time. She just called me and told me that she's in the cabin, she's on her way, right? So I'm going to take my knife, sharpen it a bit. You want to use a sharp knife on this because it makes it much easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife and go straight down the breast. I won't cut straight down, I'll go a little bit off the center, right? Just make an incision, and as soon as I make my knife incision in there, I can kind of feel the bone, so I'm just going to ride on the bone, right? Every time I make a cut, move it over, keep going on the bone, right? So here we have the breastbone, and as I'm going through my knife, I can kind of feel the wishbone, which I cut through a little bit, and here it is, right here. So you want to make sure you get that bone out of there because we don't really need it to be in there. So I'm going to kind of cut the wishbone out, right? And once I get down to this section, I'm down to the wing bone. What I'll do, I'll pop the socket, right? And I can see the ligament right there, the cartilage and everything. I'm going to cut straight through there, right? So now we're back here. I'm going to cut straight through here. There's a little bit of excess fat. Now this is the back rib cage of the chicken. So instead of going through there and cutting through the bone, I'm going to go around it. So my knife incision is going to go right behind the backbone. So let my knife do the work. Now once I'm here, the thigh bone is going to connect to the breastbone. Oh, there we go, there we go. And she's working. She's working pretty well. All right. We're going to let her keep doing that. So the leg bone is going to connect to the thigh bone. And what I want to do is, and that bone is also going to connect to the back of the rib cage. Right? So what I'll do, I'll pop it. Right? You see the bone is right there and the ligament is right here. And also the other bone, let me take this off the fire. And tune it down a little bit, bring my fire down to medium heat, and just let it cook. It's going to be beautiful as soon as it's ready. So, as you can see, my wing bone and my thigh bone are on the same length, right? So I'm going to take my knife and cut straight through there. And that's going to give me my half of chicken. Alright? My half of chicken is good to go. The only meat that's connecting it right here is the skin. And we want to keep that on because when we cook it, it's going to kind of incorporate together and it's going to kind of keep the flavor in there. It's going to look nice with the presentation. So I'm going to flip this over. Now, the wing from here to here is the wing. And this is the other bone, but I want to keep this in to make it the airline breast. So I'm going to take my knife and make an incision right here at the joint. Right? I'm going to go a little bit lower behind the joint because when I pop the bone, I want to keep that bone structure there. So go a little bit lower, we pop it, and you can see the cartilage came off, so the bone is exposed. That's going to make a nice presentation. Right? I'm going to keep the wing because I'm going to use the wing for something else. Now, the leg bone, the drumstick, I'm going to go around it, cut all around it here, all the way around, because I'm cutting on the bone, but I'm cutting the meat off. Right? Turn my fire down a little bit. So I'm going to use the base of my knife. You can even use a small knife if you can't really handle it. So the base of my knife is going to go right behind the drumstick. I'm going to put my knife right inside of there, and as soon as I feel it grips, kind of push it in some more, and then flip. Right? So now it's going to leave my drumstick bone exposed. Just cut that right off. So here, my drumstick and my wing bone. So this is the airline breast, and this is the drumstick with the thigh. Now, for my last stretch of breaking down my chicken, I'm going to take out the thigh bone. This is going to help the chicken to cook a little bit quicker. So this is pretty simple, right? Take my knife right on the bone, make an incision, right, and keep cutting. And as soon as I get down to the bone, I just use my finger to go in and pull the meat right off of the bone, leaving the bone exposed like this. And what this is going to do for our chicken is just to help it cook quicker and much easier. But still, we have two bones in there that's going to keep the flavors inside, keep everything together, and our chicken is going to look like this. Beautiful. Now I'm going to turn on this stove, put on my hot pan. We're going to pan sear it to get the inside crispy. We're going to season it with salt and pepper, a little bit of herbs, and we're going to stick it in the oven and let it ride. Now, my lentils is almost done. I can just look at it and it's telling me that it's almost done. Alright? Beautiful. So, now the carcass of my chicken, I'm going to leave the other side on so I can use it later. I'm going to leave the wing bones in there. I'm going to leave everything in there. I'm going to use it later. Maybe do another dish tomorrow, or maybe even make chicken stock. Right? And I'm going to start with the second side, the second part of my dish. I'm going to give my lentils a check, make sure they're fully cooked. Alright, you can see they're almost done. Still working up a little bit. And taste it. Alright, 5 more minutes. And that's going to be ready. You want to season it just one more time. Give it a little extra love. Right? And all I want the lentils to do is just cook. I don't need anything more from it. I just like to season it because, you know, flavor is everything. And that's when you show the love in your food. So now I'm going to dress this saute pan with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Let that get hot. Season my chicken with some salt and pepper. And I made an extra special kind of seasoning. And this is my own. And all I did was pretty much take dried onions, garlic, cardamom, curry, cumin, onions, and a little bit of dry sage, right? It's been grinded, and I made this special seasoning. And this kind of elevates whatever you're preparing, because it gives it an extra cook, an extra kick, and it helps it to taste a little bit better. My thing is always season, always season. You have to season and add more seasoning after you think whatever you've been seasoning is done. Because what happens is, as soon as I put this in the pan, the seasoning is going to run away from it because of the oil and the juices that's being released from the chicken. So you want to kind of over season it a little bit, but also taste it, because you don't want to kill it with salt and pepper and have whoever you're cooking for not enjoy it. But that's what brings the enjoyment out of food. You have to season your food the right way. Now I'm going to give my pan a little time to heat up here. Right? Now I'm going to start gathering the other ingredients. For my lentils, really cool. Brussels sprouts, onions, dry chorizo, goat cheese. Now this goat cheese is different. It's not plain. It's been doctored up with a little bit of cranberry, so it's a little sweet. It's got some herbs in there, so it's going to add a little extra elevation to this dish. Right? So now I'm listening to this pan that's sing to me a little bit. And it's telling me that it's almost ready. Right? I kind of put my hand over it to feel the heat. Right? And I can also look at it. And once you see, if you're putting oil in a hot pan, once you see the oil starts to get a little bit runny, that means it's getting hot. It's starting to loosen up a little bit. Right? So you know what I'll do? I'll just start this off. Right? And I'll just let it ride a little bit. In a few minutes, it's going to start singing to me and letting me know that it's ready. Right? It's going to start sizzling. That's music to my ears. And I love to hear that sound. I'm going to clean up my cutting board. I'm going to get a fresh cutting board, because you never ever want to cut any vegetables or anything on any cutting board that you use chicken. Alright? So you can hear that this chicken is starting to sink to me a little bit. So now I'm going to get another cutting board. I'm going to put it down. Now chorizo I'm going to dice. These I'm going to cut in quarters, and I'm going to cut in half again. The onions I'm going to dice. I'm going to wash my hand one more time. So my chicken is good to go. I can hear it starting to sink in me a little bit. I'm going to take my tongs and stick it in the oven. Remember, this is a half roasted chicken. And as you can see, it's starting to brown up a little bit. I'm just going to stick it in the oven. My oven's been preheated at 350 degrees. It's been heating now for about 15 minutes. I'm going to pull out this pan. Put my chicken in. And it's going to sizzle again because it's a hot pan, right? So I'm going to stick this in the oven for about 16 minutes.